For all the hand-wringing about the status of the New Hampshire primary, there are some candidates this cycle who are doing it the old-fashioned way, putting their trust in Granite State voters to give them the boost they need for a shot at the White House. One of them is South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham. Senator Graham, thanks for joining us.
The old-fashioned way.
That's right. Take us through the fact that you have been talking about ISIS on the campaign trail here in New Hampshire for months.
Right.
What would you be doing if you were president right now?
What I said 2 years ago. I would increase the number of boots on the ground, American troops, from 3,500 to 10,000 in Iraq to neutralize the Shia militia and be able to destroy ISIL in Ramadi and Mosul and give the Iraqi security forces the help that they don't have. I would create a regional army of about 100,000, mostly Arabs in Turkey. 10% of it would be us and Western powers. We'd go in on the ground and pull the caliphate up by its roots. Raqqa would fall and ISIL would fall like a cheap suit. I said that 2 years ago. And in the first debate I said, if you don't understand we need more American boots on the ground to destroy ISIL, you're not ready to be commander-in-chief, and if we don't get on with it, they're going to hit us here.
Obviously, no question that we could do that, pull them up by the roots and wipe them off the face of the map.
Yeah.
But what happens after we do that? Who's in charge of Syria? Is it a stable region? Do we have to stay for a long period of time?
Well, you'll have to hold and build. Clear, hold, and build. It worked. The surge worked in Iraq. It would work in Syria. You destroy the caliphate, you're going to have a holding force, mostly from the region. We'll be part of it, but the goal is to get Syrians back in charge of Syria. That's why Assad cannot stay in power. He's a puppet of Iran. So if you don't understand that Assad has to go too, you really don't understand the nature of the problem. Keeping Assad in power destabilizes the entire Mideast. He's a puppet of Iran. The Arabs are not going to accept that. The Syrian people are not going to accept him as their leader. He's killed 250,000 of their family, and ISIL will use Assad as a recruiting tool. So you got to do two things. Destroy ISIL first because they're a threat to our homeland, then turn your attention to Assad and give the Syrian people a chance through the political process to reconcile their country. It's going to take a long time.
Let's play chess a little bit here, though. What happens if Vladimir Putin says Assad must stay, and he would defend him with his military?
Well, then he would lose.
So you're saying that's World War III?
But no, bull. He's got 12 planes, 6 of them can't fly. The Russians and the Iranians are not going to dictate who runs Syria. We're not going to give yet another Arab capital to the Iranians if I'm president. So we'd take ISIL down, then the entire Arab world, Turkey, Western powers would turn to Russia and Iran and say, if you want to fight for the butcher of Damascus, you're welcome to. They won't.
What would happen if ISIS faded back into urban areas, as the Iraqis did after the invasion, and we end up stuck there in sort of a guerrilla warfare where we're getting sniped at IEDs all over again?
You're going to destroy the caliphate. We're going to go in and take the land away from them. They're not 10 feet tall. They're about 30 or 40,000. They don't have tanks. They don't have an air force. They're modern armies in the Mideast. I intend to put the Arabs out front this time. Let them pay for this war. We paid for the last two. But yes, you're going to have to hold. You got choices. The choice of doing nothing means an attack on our homeland. If you don't realize we need to get on the ground with all the complications that come from that, then you're setting up an attack on the American homeland. There are no good choices left. President Obama screwed this up every way he could. He's an incompetent commander-in-chief, and the leader on the Republican side, Donald Trump, is an empty suit. He's selling xenophobia and racism as foreign policy. He literally has no idea what he's talking about.
Senator Lindsey Graham, always good to spend time with you. We see you all here.
Strong letter to follow. I'll see you around town.
All right, Senator, thank you for your time.
Very much
appreciated.